scientific minds we have today.
Marco Colbert, Speeduco Refinish Network. All right, guys, you saw my previous video of us fixing up this bumper here. First, you guys were probably guessing, yes, it is time for paint. This is a quick scratch and go. You guys can see we didn't remove any door handles. We didn't remove the mirror. We didn't even remove the little mud flaps at the bottom. We just scuffed everything really, really good and got everything. Everything's got a real nice, clean, good prep, very good prep job to it. Everything looks very scuffed, smooth. You look down the side of it, and it's got that nice kind of sheen to it. That's what you want your prep panels to look like, especially your blend panels. Couple little bodywork spots throughout. This is a pretty reasonable size job. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side, 6, 7, 8 panels getting sprayed. So this side there was some scratches in the door. They were able to be sanded out, but they did have to get painted. Dent, and then no blend here on this side. So that's really it. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start painting. We're gonna go ahead. Obviously, you guys can see these floors a little dusty. Okay, we're gonna wet those down. Maybe we got C4 around here. I don't know. I'll find one. Maybe spill a little magic on there and give me a little good luck because it's a big job and I haven't sprayed anything in months. So I'm a little tiny bit nervous, but I'm gonna go put the camera down. We're gonna get shooting on this thing. All right, so getting straight down to business on this back bumper, I decided to go with a traditional gray primer sealer because those gray primer sealers do have a little bit of extra fill when it comes to, primer fillers, sand scratches, things of that nature. I wasn't super concerned with the blend on the back bumper because that's honestly the least noticeable part. Now, going down to the sides of the truck, that's where I'm throwing you guys a curveball, which I've done this before and I'm going to do it again. We're using the TRC 500. This is a clear primer sealer. Revolutionary, game-changing product. There is not a single other product like this on the market. It is designed to go straight over old paint, primer fillers, things of that nature, and create a smooth barrier and transition between old paint and new paint. It is also designed, as you guys can see, to bridge old paint and primer filler and make it one clean, smooth, flat surface that your base coat can go over, to where you're not going to have any hard edges, any pop outs in your metallic. It's going to just give you a nice, clean, smooth foundation to paint your base coat right over. Now we're using the Speeduco Slow Reducer to try and get the base coat to lay as flat as possible. Now silvers, mind you, especially silvers, you want to use the slowest reducer possible. I don't care if it's 30 degrees, 50 degrees, 90 degrees. You always want to use slow, because silvers, I find they can just be very problematic, which is why I'm making this video, because I want to show you guys, how to get this stuff right. And definitely the biggest key with silvers is 100% using the slowest reducer humanly possible. If a manufacturer offers extra slow reducer, which is X, so they're going to have an X and then slow, get the X slow, okay? If you can't get your hands on an X slow reducer, see if you can get a paint retarder additive and add that into your base coat so you can slow that puppy down as much as possible. Because if you don't, you're going to have tiger striping, metallic pop-up on your pigment, all kinds of problems. Now, for this job, especially with silvers, tip number 2, you're going to walk the gun on a large blend like this. You're going to walk the gun the whole way. Do not stop in between your panels, okay? It might look okay out in the sun and, in your body shop and all that, but an expert painter will always be able to tell where you started and stopped the gun if you're panel painting silvers. Panel painting silvers is never a good idea. I'm breaking my own rule today on my blend. I am out of color blender. So I tried, and this actually did successfully work. I over-reduced the base coat and fanned it out even more. And when I over-reduce the base coat, you're basically making that base coat much more translucent. I almost ran out of blend room, but I was able to pull it off to where I didn't get any paint on that tape line where the front door is. Now, check this out. You guys see any tiger stripes? Everything looks smooth and transitional. Very smooth, transitional. Rear bumper, as you guys can see, still has a nice little dent in it. That's okay. Looks 10 times better than what it did before. I'm okay with it. And the customer was okay with it, so it's all good. Now moving on to the clear coat. So we got the SMR 42. I believe I did this. I actually filmed this a while ago. Actually, I filmed this like back in like February or March or something like that. I think I used a fast activator. Now, to those of you guys that are watching this right now, okay, what speed reducer do you want to run with your SMR 42? Medium at the minimum. Medium at the minimum. I would actually recommend slow right now. For those of you guys that are DIY, you don't have much experience with clear coat, get slow. Put it on light. Take your time. Okay? Nothing ruins a paint job faster than picking the wrong speed activator or the wrong speed reducer. It will ruin your paint job. And even if it doesn't ruin your paint job, if you're like a professional like me and you know what you're doing, it will inhibit your final result. It will definitely make a difference in how nice your material lays out, whether it lays out good, whether it just lays out decent, or whether it's, this is kind of a spit and wipe 20-footer job or whatever. It will inhibit your results. I don't care how good of a painter you are. If you pick the wrong speed reducer, especially on base coat, it will definitely inhibit your results. So just walk in the clear coat. I decided to go ahead and walk the clear coat down all the way down the car as well. I've actually been doing this for quite a while. For those of you guys that are new to painting, get in the habit of walking your paint. Years ago when I was panel painting, I'm very ADHD, very, very forgetful, and I always forget where I kind of started and stopped that wet edge. It would leave me with runs. It would leave me with window framing. It would leave me with all kinds of problems. So now, to make it easy, I just walk it from one panel to the other. It might take a little bit of time to get used to, but it is so much less mentally exhausting because you don't have to think about where you okay, where did I start and stop? Okay, I stopped about right there, about 2 inches in on the door. I stopped about 3 inches in on this door. You don't have to think about that no more. And then also, you don't have to be worried about inconsistencies in your texture. That issue is no longer a problem. Just walk the gun, guys, okay? Boom. Now, check out this pillar, right? This pillar, we did get a little bit of nasty metallic pop-up on our paint. Why? Because that's overspray. We didn't really put any base coat there. So that is metallic overspray from the paint, from us fogging that panel out. And in the fog area, it was too dry, right? Too dry, no color blender, no nothing. I was kind of improvising on this job. But I want you guys to know that if you see this during your paint job, don't freak out. If you see this on the first coat of clear coat, do not start hammering it and trying to bury it right away. Just stop. Get the clear coat on, get a full seal, let the sucker sit, okay? Just let that sucker sit, okay? Let it sit, let it do its thing, let that clear coat mold into the base coat, and let the transition process start, okay? Then you're going to stack your coats. You're going to stack your clear coat on top of that. Your second coat will bury that problem. 90% of the time I've seen, if I've ever had that issue, your second coat of clear coat will bury that issue. If it does not, a third, 100% of the time. If you're using a high solids professional clear coat, 100% of the time, a third coat of clear will bury that problem. So I just want to show you guys that because this isn't the paint channel where everything's perfect and I promise you guys that I can paint in an open shop and not get a single speck of dirt and my stuff is perfect. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I want to show you guys the problems, and I want to show you guys, hey, this is how we fix it, you know? So the most important part of clear coat, guys, really, is just getting that first coat down and getting a full seal over that base coat. Once you got that down and there's no problems, there's no fish eyes, there's no crow's feet, there's no crazy problems or anything, you're golden. Just keep stacking the coats on top of the first and you're good. And this is guys, this is only after 2 coats. I did 2 coats on this job. I did not do 3. This is after 2 coats. I said, hey, bucko, this looks good enough to me. Good enough for a 2013 Tahoe. And we're going to kick it down the road. So I did get a little bit of a sag in that pillar where I did stack the clear coat a little too heavy on the second coat. Couple little tiny sags, but they wet sanded out really easy. So yeah, but everything else came out good. No runs, no crazy stuff. But yeah. This is the final result. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are looking for the best, most user-friendly auto body and detail products in the world, there's one place you need to go, www.speedocoat.com. They have everything you guys need to get your projects done. Catch you guys on the next one.